Warren, Massachusetts, online. We are being broadcasted today. We are live out there. So, who wants to start the meeting?
Let's start with
That's fine, yeah.
Tim?
Sure.
Okay. Possible vote to select this. So I thought the commissioners here agreed for you to be on board with us. Welcome aboard. And we'd like to discuss what your pay rate is. What are you expecting, if anything? Do you have liability insurance and all of that?
Okay, so I don't carry my own liability insurance. Pay rate, that's new to me, is being subcontracted out. I know we do have a subcontractor through my town. It probably, I don't know how you guys would operate it per inspection, per piece. I know in past the other contracts I've seen is like per test, our subcontractor was getting about $250 per perk test. Septic reviews, they were getting 75, final inspections, they were getting 75. I don't know if Warren requires bottom inspections or subgrade inspections. And then for your establishment inspections, come up with a figure. I mean, it's quite a drive for me to get out here.
Sure.
But definitely willing to help, willing to cover.
Where do you come from again?
Ludlow.
You know, then what if you gotta come back? What if you have to write up a report saying, hey, fix this in 30 days? You gotta come back with a being.
We'd have to come up with something mutual. I mean, I'm sure I can do a lot through email, scanning and sending.
Do we by any chance have the list of what we charge the customers out there for him to review?
So Christy handles the Title V inspections. This was strictly for food for right now. And that's on the contract right there. The one right in
I was aware it was going to be everything.
of just the hourly rate. No, the other one.
The 50/50 choice.
Yeah.
And Tim's folder?
Yep, right on the top, that's what you guys had discussed regarding hourly rate for him for strictly food inspections.
Right. For now.
Yeah.
There was some discussion as to whether it was okay for you to do the whole ball of wax, Title V, including the food inspection service. And that was dependent upon your job tasks in Ludlow at that time.
So as of now, I only work till 4:30 during the week. Friday I get out at 12. So this of course would be after hours, weekends. My weekends are completely free. So that's when I'll be spending most of my time out here. Get out of work at 12. I have to come out here Saturdays. I have to come out here on Saturdays. It's not an issue for me. I mean, I think you said there's 20 establishments I believe in town. So you can get you up on par. It won't take me too long to get those done.
And then.
Yeah, the only thing that might be difficult on that is the schools. And not open on Saturdays.
But they're open Friday afternoon.
Yeah, they are open Friday.
How many schools are there?
2.
Yeah.
Just 2? Yeah, get them done one Friday and another Friday.
And then
Awesome.
that would include housing.
Joe, you got anything you agree?
That
You
would
all
include
there?
housing.
I'm really agreeing with you. Hey. I don't have a problem with it. Tim, you got anything?
No, I just, when the board decides that they want to move forward with Mr. Fontaine, I did speak with him briefly that we would write up an agreement for the town, have the selectmen sign it if the board wants to move forward with this contractual agreement.
I'm gonna make a motion that we go forward with this agreement.
I think we should.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second the motion?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We move forward, Jim.
Okay, so Mr. Fontaine, right? So I'll be in contact with you. We'll put a contract together, and we'll get it in front of the selectmen to sign it.
So I haven't seen anything yet. I mean, you were talking an hourly figure,
Yeah, it's,
because I haven't seen anything.
Well, I think the last contract that the town had with the previous health inspector, and it was budgeted to a not-to-exceed amount of $5,300. That was back in 2020. You know, as I said, you know, I thought that the line for this particular budget was somewhere around 8,000.
Okay.
You didn't see this letter?
No. I have not.
So I'm not sure, Tim, and this is something that we could work off, you know, outside the meeting, if you were planning on invoicing the town, or how you were planning on doing that.
I mean, that's one thing we can look at that invoicing. My thing is, you know, the per hour compensation is, you know, when you're doing an establishment inspection, some can take a half hour,
Yeah.
some can take 2 hours.
Right. I mean,
And then we would have to discuss it when that would start, when that would.
right. I think, and maybe this is a discussion for the board, you know, you have 20 establishments that you want this gentleman to inspect, or 25 establishments, however many establishments that you have out there that have licenses, you know, as long as they're inspected every year on a timely manner, if it takes a half hour, if it takes an hour, you know, it should be, you know, I don't know if the board wants to do a flat compensation, or how they want to work that, you know, scenario out.
Well, in the past, that's what we've been doing, is paying the inspectors per hour.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, what is this, Tricia, I mean, her last one, I'm just looking at her last appointment back in March of 2020, it was just, the only thing that I saw that was, you know, on file here was, you know, an amount not to exceed 5,300. So I don't know how you guys broke that down, or how the board broke that down.
Maybe that's what was in the budget at that point in time.
Right, and so now, 3 years later, the budget's $8,000. And I'm
Correct.
sure that there's some more establishments and some more requirements along with that. You know, that's just an
they
adjustment.
did
for the
just
time.
come out with the new regulation for food services. And that came out, what, May? Somewhere around that point in time. And that's all the new requirements going forward. There weren't too many changes that were made to that off of the existing,
Mhm.
so there's not a lot of difference, minor differences, but nothing major,
Mhm.
so. And that's one of the things that we're gonna be covering Sunday at that training.
How do you feel about hourly, Tim?
I just want to know, is this from when the time I leave my house to compensate
Port to
for my
port?
other job?
Port
Or
to
from-
port, it should be port over port.
All done,
Okay.
absolutely.
So from the time I leave my house to drive out to here to do what I have to do,
Yeah,
to the time I get back.
But, I mean, I don't know how you could do an hourly, because if you do an hourly, I mean, it's only budgeted for 8,000. So, I mean, you know, it can't exceed the 8,000. So, I mean, if Tim did, you know, more hourly, or whatever the rate is for hourly, and it exceeds that, the budget's not there, so it has to stay within the 8,000. So that's probably the reason why in 2020, when this was written, it was just budgeted for $5,300 and not to exceed that, making sure that the inspections were done. Now, whether you want to break it up into quarterly inspections or pay-as-you-go inspections, you know, that's up to the board, you know, if you want to do that.
Jessica, didn't you break this down at one point in time? do the math and you came up with
Yeah,
some kind of total hours?
it would be, it almost sounded like there wasn't gonna be enough hours. If this includes also complaints and, housing inspections, that would be 160 hours that we would have him for the year.
So, but that's above and beyond, we're just talking restaurants.
That's just
That's $8,000 divided by the hourly rate of 50. So that's 160 hours in general that we would have available if you're gonna do it hourly. Unless you wanna do something per inspection and then do something differently for your housing complaints
That's a month's
and
worth of work.
inspections.
Tim. That's a month's worth of work.
Break down monthly, it's only about 13 hours a month. To cover you for the year.
We are talking just restaurants, correct?
Well, there's other things too.
Yeah, we have Dan right now doing the housing inspections and correction orders and so forth, but it would be,
So then that budget line
Great.
item could increase as he comes on board and takes on those responsibilities.
Well, yeah, I mean, what did you, in Tricia's capacity, the previous health inspector, what was her responsibilities? Was it just restaurants and establishments, or?
No, she was doing complaints also.
Okay.
and that was, I think, $35 per
Per-
hour,
Yep.
and then increased to $40 per hour
Yeah.
after December 2021, I believe. Or 22.
Mhm.
But I don't know how you guys broke it down for inspections, housing inspections.
Still, that's 160 hours. I don't know why I see that as, do we have really that much work going on out there?
Depends.
Well, when's the last time we
At
had
times.
Tricia here?
She quit before Brianna did.
Right,
Yeah.
so what was, that was
Brianna left one,
22?
March.
22.
Well, December,
March
sorry.
of 22, maybe?
Yeah.
Because I remember maybe when I first started in March of 22, I saw her maybe once.
Right. She came back to do her cleanup, and then that was it. She was gone after that,
Yeah, so she's been gone for at least a full year.
at least.
And you've been doing a lot of inspections, though.
Yeah, pretty much fired you guys me on speaker. So, but, if
So, I
we wanna
mean-
keep it that way where, I'm doing the housing inspections, I don't have a problem with that. Get him started with the other stuff and work through it, and then as we work through the food establishments, if there's more time that's left over, then we can pass that off to, Tim if he's amenable to that. And use up the rest of that time. If what he has now exceeds that budget, then we'll just keep the housing with me for now. And then next time around, we'll have to increase the budget to include that into the budget.
And at some point in time, the agent is going to take care of everything.
Yeah,
It is out there in the wind. Through Mike, I forget Mike's last name.
Lugo.
Thanks.
Hugo.
Thank you.
Hugo.
He supposedly has got it in the works to get every town their own full-time
Wow.
health inspector,
Okay.
complete with iPad.
That's through the Public Health Excellence Grant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That wouldn't be me.
yeah.
Yeah.
so,
Anybody got any questions? Joe? Huh? You all set there?
Yeah.
Tim, you gonna be all set with that?
So keeping at the hourly rate, which
Yes.
I'm thinking about it, 20 establishments, Most of them are 2 to 3 times a year. I mean, that should be, I would feel that'd be enough in there to cover it.
But it's got to be real, that gives you 160 hours, to cover 20 establishments.
Yeah,
And so
Possibly,
you're gonna
depending
keep
on-
track of the hours?
I can, yeah. He has great communication with me
Mm-hmm.
already through email, so he can just let me know each time he comes out, and I can put together, or if you want to do an invoice, whatever works
I can
best
invoice
for you
them.
too. Okay.
I think invoicing would be very good, you know, but you gotta keep track of the hours if you're gonna do hourly.
We do need invoicing. I'm a stickler on invoicing. I need them as wordy as possible. I need to know what they're for, what dates if you can, everything.
I have it all broken down completely.
Awesome. Awesome, just so I don't run into anything with my accountants upstairs, anybody downstairs. Boom, there you go, it says it right here. Okay, awesome. Invoicing, you got no problem invoicing?
No problem at all.
Great. Welcome aboard.
Just give me a start date and
We'll get a contract drafted, I'll email it to you, I got your email, and have you look at it, and I'll have the selectmen sign it, and we'll go from there.
I'll leave you my personal email instead of using the work one all the time, just in case. And, do you have my personal?
Is it TJ Fon? Yeah.
That's the one.
Okay.
Should we make a motion now, or wait until you see the contract and we feel that everything's comfortable there before we move on?
Yeah, that's fine, whatever you wanna do.
Okay, we'll wait until then, then we'll move on from there.
Okay.
We'll get it to you within a week or so.
Okay, very good. I look forward to it.
Thank you for coming
Thank you
over.
very much.
We appreciate it.
I know you sent me the list of establishments. Can you email them to me?
Yep,
Is it-
absolutely.
Anymore.
Okay, absolutely.
So,
I'll do that.
okay.
They're either
Thank you.
Main
It's
Street,
nice
North
meeting you.
Main Street, or South Main Street.
That's easy enough to remember. I just don't know which one's which, but.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Well, that'll be great. Okay. Item number 2. George's and Jason, dumpster.
991 Main Street.
George,
George, hi George.
I don't know, sir.
What do we got happening down here, George?
Nothing, man. I don't know. I said the dumpster right next to the business, like almost 26 years now. You know, this town pizza before, I think so. And then 6 years with me now. And then nothing problem, the best I can do, I already do it. Like a month ago, I got 2 big, dumpster. Because the before is the one, is not, I don't know, it's not enough, because he used the dumpster. Jason,
Okay.
he used my dumpster. I don't care about that, but, and now I got 2. There's nothing wrong with it, I don't know if you
So
have.
don't you
wrong-
actually have 3 though? One that's for grease?
Yeah, the one for the grease, this is separate, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's all of it's covered. The one is the grease is covered, just when you empty for the, in the bottom.
And who's picking up the grease?
I want to pick it up the grease,
Do you have a service coming in and
Yeah.
emptying that?
yes.
Okay, commodity service
It's
that comes
empty
in
now, yeah.
on a regular basis?
Yes, it's empty now, we can go check,
Yeah.
believe me. I don't know, he always, I don't know, I'm not gonna say anything, but the guy is never giving me complaint, because, you know, he used my dumpster, and then I tell him cleaning up and I pay him, you know, if you have anything, because his job, he clean the car, or cleaning this, cleaning that. But this is not my problem, you have landlord, when they rent the business, okay? This is what it is. It's like that. When he rent apartment, tell him.
There were 2 tenants in that building at one time, weren't there?
Sorry, sir?
Were there 2 tenants in that building at
I
one
have
time?
2 now.
You have 2,
Yeah.
first floor and second floor?
No, the building is the one, just one apartment in the back.
Okay.
There's not 2 apartments there?
No, it's just
Just
one.
one.
He's upstairs and downstairs, I think, so this is the
where's
same
the
apartment,
complaint
it's just two
coming from?
floors, something,
The
the
maggots
basement
from
and
the
everything.
dumpster and the,
No, I mean the two apartments where the guy's getting charged for the other apartment.
yeah, Jason.
Where's that coming from?
He is getting
Downstairs.
charged by the landlord. So you rent the property from, or lease the property from the homeowner,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, it's just a business. And
So
he-
you're on the
He
whole
owns
first
the
floor, right?
dumpsters.
Yeah, my, just the business. And in the basement,
Jason
Okay.
has the apartment.
have
in
the
back.
basement, I don't know what another have, because we have the apartment upstairs, and then, one bathroom or two bathroom downstairs with the, bathroom or something.
Okay, and that
But
one's
that's not-
empty right
this-
now?
This is separate.
It's empty, right?
I don't know, maybe he has it. I think Jason here in all.
All of it, he's renting all of it?
Yeah, no, yeah. Before.
He was just renting the top.
But now you rent all.
Hmm.
I don't see him because the basement is separate anyway. Basement from a business.
So that's why the increase, right? It's not that he's charging him, the tenant of the landlord's charging him more for his his apartment because the other place is empty. He's
So
taking the
now he
whole
has
thing.
full access to it.
Right,
But that's to deal with housing, not us, anyway. I think the
right,
concern
but there's
was
no
that,
issue there because he's renting the whole place now, not just part of it.
yeah. This concern was the cleanliness of the dumpsters outside of his door.
Right, is that, I've driven by almost every day, your dumpsters are located as close to the riverbank as possible, correct?
Yeah, but now, I don't know, I have a picture or not. I show you the.
Does this guy have to move your dumpster out of his way to
I
get
don't
into
know
his
where you're gonna
store?
put the dumpster in the moment. Where you gonna put them? I have no idea.
So these are new dumpsters from recently. There was
Two now.
larger
Smaller
ones.
than the one that was.
And now
I
they're
get
smaller.
two now, like this.
Yeah, those
I
are the
pay
two,
more
and then the
money.
third one is a grease
Yeah.
pit.
It's always, two is enough, you're not gonna fill them for a week, you know? Before it's just only one.
Right, now, they're being picked up on a regular scheduled basis, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
Weekly.
Weekly?
yeah, weekly, yeah, every Tuesday, you empty the
Grease.
dumpster, the grease, 2 weeks, because, you
Okay,
know,
yep.
it's a bigger, I can't do it for 1 week. You
Yep.
can come for a week, come for over 2 weeks.
Okay,
And everything's clean, he park in the car.
yep, I've seen his car parked in there, no, and
It's his car.
there's plenty of access for him to get to his car.
Yeah.
So the dumpsters aren't blocking it, the dumpsters, as long as they're being kept clean, I think can stay where they are.
Yeah, there's clean, there's nothing wrong with it, because it's like 6 years after I buy this is from the Town Pizza or something, you know, the Town Pizza before,
Yeah.
Yeah.
before George's
Yeah.
Pizza, is the same.
So what we need to make sure of is there's no rodents or rats accumulating in those dumpsters or around those
Yes.
dumpsters.
I'll tell you something, every time we drop the dumpster, the company take the dumpster, we clean, ask him,
Okay?
I clean.
Do you
Yeah,
have-
He helped me sometimes.
Do you have rodent
Yeah.
traps outside your
You have what?
facility? Rodent traps outside your facility? Like rat traps or mice traps outside the building?
No.
Okay. That might be something that you might want to do that, to keep them out of the building.
What?
The rats. Are you getting rats by your trash?
The Fisher cats, the rats, all those good animals.
I think Jason had said there was basically just maggots and like a random raccoon that would come in it as long as the
As long as the lids
It
are down, you
stays
keep them
closed.
I
closed.
want
you
to
won't have
explain for you
raccoons.
guys something. I don't care about Jason what he said because everything is cleaning. Jason
Yeah.
have trouble with the business because he have trouble with the head girl. He's the wife, or I don't know, girlfriend or something. She is coming in the business, go in, broke up the boxes. They're gonna find the guy working, some stuff like that. And the police coming up, you know, he make him record and then he can't come in George's Pizza anymore. You know, that's a problem. You didn't get switch both. You're gonna mix all together between the dumpster or problem
Yeah.
with the people work, this is not right. Because this is like 6 years, nobody, before, I have some people rent, stole the building before, the apartment in the back, nobody talked, nobody saying nothing.
It's also been a very
Jason, you're gonna
hot
stop talking
summer.
anyway for him.
Also been
Have
a
you ever
very wet
considered
and hot
joining
summer
our
for these
landfill or,
maggots.
transfer station? It could be a lot easier, because that way there you could have just 90-gallon, cans and put them over between you and the police department. This driveway could be absolutely
Yeah,
free.
we have, like, what do you call, the sidewalk or something? The car for the
Yeah.
dumpster, we can't go this way, because we have sidewalk, you know? It's
Yeah,
not
they
a
can't
spot.
impede the sidewalk.
Yeah, you can. I cleaning this area too, I use them because I cleaning for I get the broom from the town hall, for the police, we cleaning with the tables,
Yeah.
we look nice, better and get about some stuff like that. This way between the police and the building. If you wanna give me other way in the route, the one before.
Was
other
across
s-
the street.
Across the street. I
Yeah, but
can't
that's on
really-
town property.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but this is not a problem for George's Pizza, but I rent, that's a problem, you can go with the, talking the landlord. I don't know, you know, with my dumpster, where? Yeah. I have no idea where to go. But is everything in cleaning, you can go right now if you want, anytime.
No, I've driven by there and it is clean. It's a lot better looking and situated
Yeah,
than when
believe me,
the other
ask
dumpster was
Jason
just in the
too,
middle.
ask him, when Tuesday, when you bring, when the company come in and pick it up, after put the two dumpster, I cleaning, I got the soap and the bleach and some stuff, I cleaning, he came look at it and he sell me. I do,
Okay,
because I need something, you know, only me pizza place around here,
yeah.
you know? I do best I can, I give everybody happy, everything is cleaning, you can go to side the store, see how the business, how the cleaning, of course, man. I do best I can, but I'm not gonna team with Jason, have problem, he never stop anyway, guys. You know, he never stop. There's every time different, different way, but sometimes it's Board of Health, sometimes it's talking the landlord, sometimes it's, I can't help.
Okay, George, thanks. We appreciate you coming in.
You're welcome, just let me know, guys, I'm listening anyway, let me
Yep,
know
we
what you
will.
want, I can do it.
I'm gonna probably take a walk over there and look at the area,
Yeah.
later on during the week.
Sure.
And we'll get together and we'll have a discussion and
Yeah.
make a recommendation after that.
Anytime.
Okay?
All right, okay,
Thank you again.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. Have a good day.
You too.
Next on the agenda, 65 Chapel Street.
What'd you like to know?
Well, what do you have to
How's
say?
things going up there?
Not very good.
What do we got happening, guys?
Well, we're at the point right now where we're demoing the stuff that needs to be replaced. We have plans to dig up our backyard and cap the other line off. And, yeah.
Have to be displaced again
Might
because
be
of this
displaced again.
situation.
What has to be replaced again?
Displaced.
So the sewage came up through the first floor toilet, flooded the back room and the basement.
Yeah?
So now that the walls are open, we have to bring the entire plumbing in the house up to code. So that's going to displace us again. We're still
Oh.
attached to the neighbor's
Yep.
sewage, getting nowhere with sewer department. So at this point, it's on my property. There's no easement agreement or anything like that that says he has the right to run the drainage sewer line through my property. I'm just gonna dig it up and cut it.
You may run into some problems here, you know?
I'm about to lose my homeowner's insurance because it's a known problem. So I can't not have homeowner's insurance.
Have you,
With this potential problem that could happen again. It wasn't my problem to begin with.
When it
It
first
was,
started,
it was him getting the drain cleared that brought everything up through the toilet.
and then we had to pay to have it cleared on town property.
And
And
now
then
we're
when
up
we were
to,
displaced from our home the first time, he was still allowed to run his water, which continued to flood our house.
When we were displaced from the house, they didn't have to leave, the water wasn't even shut off to their house, so they continued to live there, flush their toilets, do whatever they needed to do, which, I've got pictures, was still flooding the house. So, I mean, something needs to get done. At this point, like I said, I'm not getting anywhere with the sewer, we're just gonna have to pay out of my homeowner's insurance to get it fixed, and then recoup the cost after.
Have you dug it up to see where those two lines connect?
So two things. One, we have to give them 60 days notice that we're gonna dig. We've already called Dig Safe, it's been marked, everything like that. We received a call from the, what's her name, Lisa? The chair, the administrative assistant for the
Yep.
sewer commission.
Yep.
She called and told us that we can't dig without notifying them and having a person from the sewer commission there to supervise
Yep.
whatever they're doing,
Babysit.
babysitting the contractor doing it,
Mm-hmm.
so.
So you pretty much have to schedule it in advance.
Yep. And, I mean, we've got lawyers involved now, we're giving him 60 days notice, he's ignored your letters, which we were told, you guys wrote a letter to him. I don't know if that's, who said that?
And he came in and spoke to you guys.
Said that you guys wrote a letter to him saying that he needs to make steps to get off the line. I don't know what's been done with that. So I'm to the point now where, like I said, we've got lawyers involved, we're gonna give them 60 days notice, and we're gonna dig up and cut it.
So so you haven't dug it up yet to find out where that line comes through or by your house?
Nope.
Okay, you have no idea. Does Dig Safe put a line down there saying his line comes around the house, under the house, or
They
anything?
haven't marked it at all, because
Yeah.
they don't locate that, they locate utilities.
Right.
Yep.
Gas lines and so forth.
I don't
And
know
there's-
if
and
sewer
there's
was
no
even
plans.
contacted to approve it with DigSafe, because I got all communications approved, with DigSafe, but sewer hasn't approved anything.
Because I would imagine they're not approving it because even they don't have plans of how the lines were run. Because this
Yeah.
dates back to the 40s when it was originally done.
Mhm.
The sewer was done on Central Street in the 80s and they never tied over. They kept the common drain. It's now, thankfully, it's down to 2 residents on the street. It used to be 3.
Mhm.
Right.
One has since cut off and done his own thing, but I mean, we're just running the risk of this happening again. And like I said, my homeowner's insurance is starting to drop me. I mean, because it's a known problem.
Sure.
It can happen again, and I'll keep putting claims in.
And they're not gonna keep paying to have it fixed.
No, right. No, everybody should have their own, be attached to the sewer line individually. So, but it would be interesting to see who taps into who, whether he taps into yours or you tap into his.
It
Well,
comes
even-
directly from his house into our house down our driveway. I can
Yep.
tell you that much. Just by the way the water flows when they had it open,
Yeah.
cleaning
You
it.
can,
Hear
when
it
he
again.
flushes his toilet, you
Yeah.
can hear it go by the house. Like, from our basement. You can hear it go right by the house.
That's interesting.
When we were looking,
That's almost scary.
Oh, very. For someone with.
So when we're looking at the
with
ages of
someone
the
with anxiety problems,
houses,
she's afraid to even be in the house.
when we're looking at the ages of the houses when they were constructed, Central Street was constructed prior to
Central.
your house, which means your
That line
house
went in
tied
first.
into that.
and that wasn't
But there's-
documented anyway.
It goes from his house to our house to the street.
Right,
Mhm.
right. It depends on, well, I don't know what the rules, the laws were back then, why they tied everybody into one line.
Where the line, just knowing where his line comes out and where it ties into the street at the end of our driveway, there's no other option than to go through our backyard, under our garage, and out the front of the house. And without knowing where the plans are or there's no,
It could have been.
no easement
It
agreement.
could, that
with
could have been a
assessors.
handshake deal made between owner back then and owner of your property back then also.
Very possible, but
So
not
there may
legal
not be
standing.
anything documented on it.
Yeah, there's no legal standing
Right.
at this time.
Right. And you probably weren't notified when you purchased the property.
Nope.
that
And I
The
there
talked-
one
was a-
that knew about it is
The one
Tom,
that caused the problem.
Mr. McKeon. And he told the company that it was a common line that was performing the job, that it was a common line, and they still performed the job. And here we are. Still. I've reached out to you, I've talked to you, and you all say, we're gonna help, we're gonna help, okay? We're now in almost the end of September, where's our help? It's literally come out of our homeowner's insurance, our pocket, we're gonna be displaced from our home again, with 2 children. I mean, come on, do you wanna go live in my house? Do you wanna see what my house looks like, and what it did look like? It's not fair. It's not. You complain and you want money for the town to fix your sewage plant, and you want people to move here, but you don't do anything to help your people. You've told me, let me know if you need anything. I need you to step up and do your job. All of you. We need your help. Like, why is it us sitting here pleading our case again, over and over again, for you guys to, oh, well, we'll see what we can do, when we know what needs to be done. He needs to be cut off, capped, and moved to Central. End of discussion, right? I mean, it's common sense. But it's gonna force us, what we've already done, get a lawyer, call DigSafe, and it's put on us to get the job done. No?
You would think.
Okay, so why aren't you guys making the move? Because it's your town. This is something that's fallen on the town. It's an illegal line.
I believe he was notified to cut
Mhm.
and connect to the main line. Did we get a response back on that yet?
He did come to the office and he said he wasn't going to comply.
Okay, so what is our
Recourse?
recourse on that?
You're gonna
There
have
are-
to dump it into the sewer department.
Which is
Well, he's
useless
got,
too.
I think he
There
has
are
the option of
grants.
a grant to do that.
Through
Yep.
Pioneer
It's in our letter
Valley.
to send to him.
In our 60 days notice, we provided him with the company, the grant, the person.
Mhm.
But if he's already not wanting to comply, what is gonna make him comply with the grant?
It's gotta be an order that comes down from the town.
So, it's my understanding that it's a very difficult situation. Unfortunately, the lines are not on town property. Okay? Lines are on private property. These are not sewer lines that are operated and maintained by the town, from what I was told.
So quick question.
So with regards to that, there's limited things that we can do. Obviously, we sent a letter to the other individual,
McKeon, yep.
Mr. McKeon, to address this situation, because it's a health issue. Other than that, there's really not much we can do.
I mean,
So,
I
quick
hate to be
question.
very blunt, but, I mean, I loved this town before this situation. I absolutely hate it now. Hate it because of this situation and the no help we're getting. He's gonna die sooner rather than later. And I could just move out of my house and then you're gonna have somebody else deal with this issue. Why can't you just get it done? Force your hand. This is your town. Your town,
It's our town, but the pipes are on private property
okay?
That
I'm
the
gonna tell you,
town
dig
does-
in my backyard.
that
I
the
really
town
don't
doesn't
care.
own.
So then what is stopping us from digging up our backyard and cutting it? Why do we have to have sewer babysit us? It's on private
Why would-
property, right?
I don't know
I
that
can't see
conversation.
why you need to have sewer over there. Who's saying that you need to have
Lisa.
sewer
Lisa
private
Snigris.
property?
Lisa?
Because it connects to the main, I don't know, that's what she had told
Where
me
does it connect to the main?
In front of our house.
It literally goes
So-
from
I,
our garage to the
if,
street.
if I may, I think maybe she was referring to that, you know, these individuals that would be now cut off of the sewer, when they reconnect to the town sewer, obviously I would think that they would have to reconnect, then at that point, somebody from the sewer department would have to be there to
Nope.
monitor the connection into the main line.
Nope,
No,
you
it
can,
was
you
digging
can
up my
listen to the
backyard.
voicemail.
Okay, well, I'm only guessing, you know, maybe she, you know,
They said we
misspoke.
cannot perform any work without someone babysitting us
On our
on our
property.
property.
Maybe we need to get them involved and talk to them, find out what exactly their position is and why they have that position on private property.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first I've heard of that, so.
Yeah, it's the first I've heard it too.
I mean, like I said, you can listen to the voicemail and you can make your assumption from there,
I don't
but
wanna make an assumption, because I don't, you know, I've been over your property, I know the conditions that you guys are dealing with.
And it's just
And-
opening more and
Right,
more and
right.
more.
So, I wanna get it resolved for you guys, okay? I think we need to get the sewer department involved in this, find out what their stance is, what their position is, why they are thinking that they own on private property when they really don't. If we're not gonna, say that we can help these people out because it's private property, but yet we're telling them they can't do anything because it's private property, there's an issue there. Okay? It has to be resolved. They're either gonna help or they're not gonna help, one way or the other. It can't be both ways. So let's get them involved, let's have a discussion with them, find out where we're gonna go with it, why they're taking the position they are, and if we can move past this, let's move past it. And then we'll keep you guys notified of what's going on, once we have contact with them. So,
and we need to give them 60 days before the frost.
right, right.
Well, I mean, that's between you and your lawyer, if that's what you're.
Well, we're digging it up.
I
They
did
have
say
to do it
ticket
before,
ends
they
the
have to do it
28th.
before the winter.
Yep, we're digging it up before the ground freezes.
Yes.
So,
So, let's get to
so
them.
like I said, if it's on private property, it's our
Right.
problem.
And
You see,
that's the
see,
position
the
that
other
I'm
problem
saying,
is-
because,
If you cut his line and cap it, you create a problem for him. That is your responsibility.
But
That's-
why isn't
that-
his homeowners paying for what he did to us?
And that's not our responsibility because
That line's probably been there 100 years.
it's on private property. So unless there is an existing easement agreement on the assessor's map, then there's no
Jim,
right
can we
of
check the
way for.
assessor's map, see if there's an easement there?
If I work in the, for
It's
the
not
cable
on the
company.
assessor's map, it would be on the deed of the property.
Okay,
Yep.
can we,
And do you have the deed?
No, I didn't. Those
Oh.
are the one things I didn't bring with me. It's not.
Because I have the
nothing.
deed, there's
there's
nothing
nothing
there.
on your deed,
Nothing.
Nope.
Again, that's a legal matter, I would
Right.
have them consult with their counsel.
right.
We've already done that. He said give him 60 days and dig it. So,
Okay.
I love Mr. Tom,
The only other
But it's not our
reasonable,
problem.
resolution to this is when you cut the line, you're gonna cap it, you're gonna cap your side, you're gonna cap his side, right?
Yep.
So if we cut the line, there's gotta be a T in there somewhere. When you cap his line, it's not gonna impact his flow going out to the street. Cause that end of it that's cut is gonna be capped at that T. So his water's still gonna flow through.
I
and go
don't
to the
believe so.
sewer.
I believe it comes by the house and we elbow in.
Okay, they're still gonna have to cut it at that elbow, and they
Yep.
can cap it at that elbow so the flow keeps coming through. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, because it's a common pipe.
It's one pipe coming from his house through your property, correct? There's an elbow coming out of your house with a pipeline going into that common line, correct?
Mhm.
Okay,
And we're going to cut and cap anything that's on my property.
right.
So if his pipe goes through my property
You're
to the
gonna
street.
cap that end And you're gonna cap your end, correct?
He would
Yes.
cap it before his elbow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut anything that's on my property.
Right, so you're gonna
Back
end
to
up
his
capping
house.
it right there, so that whatever's coming out of that house and going down that line is still gonna go through if you cap that right there, where that cut is.
No, it's not.
Why isn't it?
Because it's gonna come out of his house through my property, and it's going to be cut.
Ain't going over. It'll stop right there.
It's gonna
So
stop
you're
right
gonna go,
there.
you're gonna go
Okay,
to
all
the
right,
line.
so you're cutting it before the line comes
Yeah,
through your
he
driveway,
would,
okay.
he would cut it right
Yeah.
here before.
Yeah, okay, I was thinking the pipe stays in place, goes down the driveway to the line, and then gets cut
If he
at the
wants,
T where
if he
your
wants to
junction
pay me
is.
for use of the pipe, sure.
So,
Nah, I
But-
ain't living in my house then.
So the thing that would happen is coming out of the sewer line, you're gonna have a common line. Somewhere up at that, somewhere in there, somewhere in there is going to be a Y.
right,
And then one part's gonna go to, the one house and the other part's gonna go to this house. So if they cap that end of the Y from that house, from up on a hill,
there's gonna be no flow going anywhere.
anyway, forget about it.
Which is why we're trying to do things the right way. They're all with you guys issuing letters, and next gonna be a letter from us, and if he still doesn't wanna comply, are you guys gonna pay my homeowner's insurance out of pocket? Because I can't live without homeowner's insurance, right? So if they cancel my policy, I'm screwed. So,
I would say we get the sewer division involved and find out what their position is, so we can move this forward.
Was it
Well, it's not
your
gonna have
lawyer?
much to say.
what's that?
Was it your lawyer that sent, the letter to Mr. McKeon, or
No,
was
it says
it
it
the
has to come from
contract?
us, and
Okay.
detailing
The
everything.
situation,
The
everything.
situation, providing the grant information, everything like that. We haven't issued it yet.
Okay.
Oh, you haven't
But-
sent him the letter yet?
Nope. Because we're waiting for this meeting, I have to make a couple of revisions per the contractor and the lawyer. I have to make a couple of revisions to the letter. But that'll probably be done in the next day or so.
But we did send that letter
you-
to have him
Did you
cap.
guys provide a timeline?
There was no timeline on
I can't remember offhand right now.
Because if there's a timeline and he says, I mean, you say he's not compliant, but if he says, okay, I've got the plans in motion, then it's one thing. But if he's not gonna be compliant or not respond to you guys or anything like that, how long am I supposed to wait?
Right.
that. There was no timeline.
I will fix my house
And let's
and I will
change it.
sell it.
Send another letter with a timeline.
But in 6 months, a year,
Whoever-
2 years,
I'm gonna say
you're gonna be in
whoever
the same
buys it.
situation.
And it can't be 30 days.
Mm. Do you have a timeline if we change the letter?
30 days sounds great.
Uh,
So,
He's
We're
already
dealing with
had-
with a frost line here.
Wanna go 14 days?
I would go 14 days, 15 days max. I wouldn't go any more
We're
beyond
coming
that.
down to the nitty gritty here.
Yeah, I wouldn't go past that because you're gonna start hitting the cold weather and you're gonna
Yeah.
dig this before the frost hits.
Yeah.
So what are you going to, what's this letter gonna say?
Send a letter to, what is
Mr.
it,
McKeon.
The sewer department.
Mm-hmm.
that he has to disconnect and tie into the main line that's out Central Street.
Like I said, I'll take a plan. If he says he's got a contractor, wait till the spring, I might even be okay with that.
Nope. You, hello, can we discuss this first? No.
But
I would rather get it resolved right now
Yep.
before winter happens,
I mean, that's where I'm
okay?
going, but.
Because the longer
I'm
that
trying to
stays
be-
in place, the more issues you're gonna have.
Mhm.
Yep. Especially if
I'm-
we're gonna have all of our plumbing replaced
Yeah.
and then we still have to say, what?
Yeah, I mean, what's the work we're doing now for if this could happen again
Right.
Right.
in 3 weeks?
Get this done.
So I think the letter needs to go back to McKeon with a timeline, date not to exceed 15 days.
And if it does exceed,
Get a, response from him.
is there, at this 14 to 15 day, is that when
I
you're?
don't think the board can just tell him that he's gotta remove that line. I think the board can, can say that the town was made aware that the line is going to be removed by the abutting homeowner. What is your plan to address that?
But it's not a compliant line either.
Maybe at the time when it was, it was. I don't know that.
That's very possible.
I don't doubt that at one time it was code, but
So
in the
I would
80s when
go
the
off
project
of that
was done,
premise to start.
why was the homeowner even given the option to stay on the line he was at and not run his own?
And what if he was, but said no?
That's exactly what happened. The
Oh,
three
he did.
people that
It
lived in
is-
that little block
that is
said,
what he
it was a
said.
handshake, said, no, we're good.
That's what I
Well,
was
guess
told.
what? 20, 30 years later, we're having problems.
Mhm. And nothing
Is
was
there
documented.
anything in our regulations or anything in the town regulations that states if there's a town line that goes through your property or by your property, you have to connect to that?
I don't believe so.
No?
We had this discussion at the sewer meeting.
I don't think so either.
So, I mean, obviously, the town and the Board of Health was alerted of the situation by a neighboring homeowner. The homeowner has now engaged with his own legal counsel. His own legal counsel has said that they're going to cut the line within 60 days and transfer it over. If they're planning to do this, obviously, the town has now been made aware of that. We should be asking the other abutter, what is his plan to take action to do this? Is he planning on, getting a septic? Is he planning on tying into town sewer? What is his plan and what is his timetable?
And
It's
that's
my
That's
suggestion.
the letter that should go out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
Mr. McKeon is 85 years old, and I don't believe you can put septic there because of
Not
the,
enough room either.
well, not only not enough room, but bedrock is like 8 feet down.
So, I mean, what is his
More
plan?
cost-effective.
Is he going to be?
Well, the only viable option is to tie to the existing line that's there.
Correct.
So, let's give him that letter, send that out to him.
In which you can use those
And
grants
if
to
he's
tie
gonna
in.
get grants, it doesn't cost him anything.
Right, it's
Why,
not,
why would you wanna say no?
If he can get the grant, it changes the whole situation.
well, he was always told he could get the grant, but he said no.
Mhm.
Did you guys put the grant in the letter as well?
I notified him of that when he came in by recommendation of the
But
board.
you don't have it in writing.
I do not have that in writing.
So send it to him in writing.
Yeah, you can incorporate that into a paragraph under
Into
that letter.
this letter, okay.
Yeah. Say, if this may be helpful to you,
Do we know who the grantor is? This money is
Pioneer
it-
Valley.
Pioneer Valley.
Pioneer
with
Valley?
Chris Dunphy.
Dumfrey.
Dumfries.
He's with Central Mass Regional Planning.
Yeah.
Believe so.
Yeah, not Pioneer Valley.
Oh, Lisa had told me Pioneer.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's changed.
Yeah, well, Pioneer Valley is for Hamden, Hampshire, Franklin
Oh,
counties.
okay.
We're in the Central Mass, so we're with Central
Worcester.
Mass Regional, Worcester.
I'll check in on that too.
Yeah, any chance you can let us know too, because that has to go in our letter. And we got the information from Lee.
Well,
That's
what
in
we'll
Pioneer
do is,
Valley.
we'll send this to him and send you a copy of it.
Great.
So we know for a fact that this gentleman can be the grantor? who
Well,
is-
it's not the person, it's the entity.
Correct, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a contact.
He's the one that
into the
represents the
grant.
entity,
Yeah,
and, he is a good,
yes, he's reputable.
okay?
I mean, it's only gonna benefit him anyway.
can't do
It's gonna
this,
it's gonna
but-
solve the issue, it's gonna benefit him in the long run, because now he's tied into the main sewer line.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a half-baked sewer line that's out there from whenever it was installed.
Yeah.
What's that, Joe?
It's a 100-year-old sewer.
Yeah,
That's back whenever they used Barnett.
which could at any
Diagram.
point in time, through this construction process or through this digging process, break in other places because of the age of the pipe.
Exactly.
And then he would be
Crumble.
really screwed. Then he would be forced to tie to that and probably not be available for the grant, whereas right now, he is available to the grant.
Well,
And that goes, yeah, and again, I mean, you know, that's a great point by Dan. You know, there's a risk also, I would assume, that, you know, when you start digging and you start moving these pipes and capping one off, that you could damage your pipe too.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, that's already, we're gonna have to replace ours.
They're gonna be
too, but
replacing their line anyhow,
Oh, they're gonna replace their whole line? Okay.
That ours, yeah.
so.
maybe one solid piece, get that Y out of there.
So let's do that.
If anything, I'd argue with the sewer department on the,
Do you wanna come with us
I
to
was
see
gonna
Ralph?
say, have you
'Cause-
argued with Ralph? Have you spoken to Ralph? You are better off talking to a wall.
And did you make that link too?
What, about the drunk guy? No.
One of the sewer employees showed up to the house the night of drunk and had to be escorted off the property, so I don't have much faith in the sewer department.
Ralph has got a ton of experience behind him. He comes from multiple places out there.
I don't doubt Ralph is a good guy and
He seems
trying
like a nice
to
guy.
clean up the mess that was left maybe, but he's got a few choice employees.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do right now, and we'll keep you in contact with you as to how things are gonna go. We'll send you a copy of the letter that goes out to him and see what his response is, and then we'll have another powwow, hopefully for the best option of him tying into the new line.
Okay, when do you think our next powwow will be?
Well, we're giving him a 15-day window to comply.
So the next meeting after 15 days,
October.
did you guys set your meetings here for October?
No, we haven't done that yet.
If we
You're
go
really
according
pushing
to
us here, you
the,
know.
Yeah,
if we go
I'm
according to
about done with
the
this.
schedule, it looks like
I'm gonna keep
October
making work to
18th.
come. October 18th?
Yeah.
If we go to the third Wednesday of the month. But I can let you know too when it's set in stone at the end of the meeting, when I send the letter.
Dan, Joe, you guys got a problem with the 18th?
No?
Well, the 18th, we'll make it then. Make a motion to make the 18th for the next meeting.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 18th at
Done.
6 o'clock.
That way there will know, sounds like this guy needs a wee bit of a push in here, hey? And get it resolved correctly so it turns out to be a win-win situation.
I mean, I understand his standpoint, he's lived there for so long. Why change what he already has? But,
Things have to be done, though.
We're-
yeah,
We're
You gotta get
sympathetic, it's not
Y2K
that we're
compatible
trying
here.
to be assholes, we're.
No, we
we're being
understand that.
sympathetic, but at the same time, like I said, I can't live in my house without homeowner's insurance. I still
I
have a
have to live
mortgage,
out with my family.
so something has to happen. It's unfortunate that we're finding this out now, but something has to happen.
Okay. So we'll be in contact. All right?
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott, I,
Or am I up
Ooh.
next? Do you have other stuff to do, or?
did this,
You're up
you're
next.
up. Landfill inspections and the water quality monitoring program.
So I was out at the landfill yesterday in the solar field to do the quarterly inspections. And I prepared the report so you could take a look at them and sign them and we can get them in, which is important. I did get called out in the field this morning unexpectedly, so I do have to add the photographs, but the reports are all typed up, so I can leave them for you to take a look at, or we can go through them now. There's a couple things out there that I wanted to go over that I saw, and part of it's, a little bit of it's weather related, because, you know, it rained Monday, and it rained last week a lot. So if you starting at South Street, the old West landfill that we call it,
Yeah.
right? That's in need of being mowed. The way your contract with the operator of the transfer station reads is the town would, because it was getting real overgrown last time we bid the transfer station operations, the town would go out and have that done, cut brush on the sides as well as the grass on the top, which last year was, you know, in here. And that after that first time, it would be Solid Waste Solutions' responsibility. So I don't know if he knows or remembers that, because he never had to do it before, but we should reach out to him and let him know that that's gonna need to be done. The top, you know, there's some brushy stuff, it's mostly grass. There's a lot of ragweed. You could tell because I was
Yes.
all night. But that side slope that goes down to the brook, I mean, that's getting pretty brushy, and DEP doesn't like that. In long term, the longer it goes, the bigger a problem it'll be.
Didn't we have a contractor do that the last time?
Yeah, because again, it had been so
Because of the
long,
slope.
and because the transfer station operations contract was out to bid, we said, all right, we're gonna do it the first time, and then it took a little while to get somebody out there. But the town did hire somebody to do it.
Are you on the solar field?
No, I'm on,
No, on the west landfill.
On the west landfill, okay, on the.
Yeah.
Towards
okay.
South Street.
Yes, we have a guy out there, he's got one heck of a machine.
yeah,
Uh,
great.
It's beautiful.
It's gotta be done at least once a year, and it's, really should be done. And it's, again, it's on, when I was in the office a few weeks ago, I checked, it's really Solid Waste Solutions. It's in their contract to do it.
Oh, west landfill?
The last
Yes.
landfill
Yes.
and the main landfill.
Oh.
And again, it may be something that Patrick Kennedy doesn't even know about or forgot about, because he's never had to do it before. So I think it's worth mentioning it to him and trying to get that done.
Absolutely.
If it's in their contract, then we'll have to wake them up.
Can you touch base with, Patrick on that?
We brought three, I'm sorry.
South Street is out to the right.
Yep.
So you can give it to him, because I was out there the other day looking at it.
Great. Okay, so South Street's on the right over here, and now your left. That's how I pulled it too, with north up. If you switch it, north will be up. No. I made a little circle down here south of where it says Warren Transfer Station.
Yeah.
So when I was doing the walk around of the West End Forum, there's, it's always a little low and wet in there before you get to the brook, but right at the toe of the slope.
Yeah.
With all the rain recently, it doesn't surprise me that it was pretty mucky. The water there was orange. Okay, so generally iron comes out of the landfill.
Yep.
As soon as it gets enough oxygen,
Yep.
it's gonna change forms and it's gonna become orange.
Yeah.
So I talked to my guys who were out there Labor Day week to do the sampling at the wells.
Yeah.
If they see leachate seeps, they're supposed to sample it. And the way we do it is, we've got a field meter that measures conductivity, how much electricity will pass through it,
Yeah.
right? And we grab a sample, and if it's over 1,000, we send the sample to the laboratory for testing, to see if it's leachate. If it's under 1,000, we just note it, and we know to go back and look in that area again in 6 months when we sample again, but we don't send it off to be sampled.
Uh-huh.
It was under 1,000, so they didn't collect any samples from that area. I just noted it as something we should keep an eye on in the future, because if it does, the orangeness and the odor is suspect, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the two things with the west landform. Over on the main landfill, let's see. It had been mowed since I was there at the end of June, or middle of June, so that's good. There's a couple of drainage downshoots which were cracked stone swales.
Yeah, yeah.
Those always could use a little better. They were getting a little long and brushy last in June. So they need a little cleaning out to make sure that they continue to work the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Again, somebody with a weed whacker with a blade on it instead of a chain is probably
Yeah.
good enough. The landfill was, the transfer station was open yesterday. Sue mentioned that her guy had been doing some of the swales up closer to the transfer station, so maybe they're gonna get to it, but, so there's that. And then, the top of the landfill, like, closer to the transfer station and the side slopes were all in good shape. Down the bottom, and I don't think I circled this, but on the backside, this road, this little road here goes down to the leachate tank.
Yeah.
Down in here where it flattens out. Down in here where it flattens out, sorry. Was pretty soggy. It's off the landfill, I'm not worried about that at all. But up top, inside the solar field, historically, there's been times where the water has been ponding up there. So part of that area's got plastic cover underneath it, and part of most of it's just soil cap. The water's supposed to run, well, there's a little low point underneath every panel, right?
Yeah.
And so I really expected to see a lot of water yesterday. There was really only one group of cells, of panels here, right in here,
Yeah.
where there was water ponded up underneath it, which I thought was better than what I expected. But there's a drainage swale, that long thin line that I got there, that has got a high point, water's supposed to go in both directions.
Yeah.
It's always whenever it's wet, like, I'm not convinced it drains well or appropriately. More, longer water sits up there, the more it's gonna seep in, the more it's
Yeah.
gonna percolate through,
Yeah.
make leachate, get into the groundwater. We've mentioned it to the solar company before. They went out, looks like probably, did a decent job, but just a shovel's width.
Yeah.
Kind of made a little bit of a better ditch. To me, without having a survey route out there, it looks like it should all be going in this way and this way.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's quite a few like this is. So what I wrote it up as is that we should meet out there with the state and solar people and try to get it resolved once and for all. I know there was a lot of rain, but to me, the fact that there was a lot of rain just shows that it's not graded the way it's supposed to be. And the reality there is, when they built the solar field, nobody asked the Board of Health or us about what it should look like, but really they should have added fill.
Yeah.
Because there was already low spots up top, with a berm around the edge to keep it all from washing over and eroding out. And so, it's just always been a little bit of a problem, but it's gotten worse. And, with the frequency and intensity of storms we're having lately,
It's gonna get
It's gonna
worse.
continue to be an issue.
So we need to get them out there to regrade everything, so it's got the proper pitch to it.
And they're gonna do, they're gonna wanna do the minimum, which I understand, it's what they did before. Which is why the corrective action plan and the report suggested, we have a quick meeting out there with them and either Dan Hall or Tom Spate, because they'll nudge them, right, without putting the pressure on you guys. And then I think they'll be more receptive.
Question. At one time, there used to be like a dirt path this way, right along the edge of the brook on,
Yep.
it's still there? Maybe if we put some riprap in there, so that the water comes this way, it's gonna go away from the brook.
Well, eventually it's gonna end up in the brook anyways, and I didn't see any evidence of erosion down in here.
Mhm.
So I'm not that worried about that, and I think it would be quite a bit of money. Also, there's not that much of a road down there anymore. My guys will park right here next to the well pair where you can pull off a little
Yeah.
bit and walk in, because there's both wells and gas ports along this,
Yeah.
this tree line and into the tree line a little bit. And so, it's not like they could drive down there.
Well, back in the late 1970s, early 80s, that was the main road into the dump,
Yeah, it
Along
doesn't
that-
surprise me.
right along that brook.
Well, and, you know, one of the things that we say, based on mapping from the 70s and 80s, is that this is the edge of the landfill,
Yeah.
right? But it keeps going downhill from there to the brook,
Yeah.
and it doesn't look like, you know, I wouldn't dig a hole over there.
No.
Probably gonna be something. Whether it's stuff that was buried there or stuff that rolled down the hill when they were operating it in the 70s. And it's just outside the, you know, limit, it just happens. But yeah, that's really, the only other thing that I noted was, there's a couple of gas ports out there that are broken.
Yeah.
Like, it would cost probably $2,000 each to fix 6 or 7 of these things.
Mhm.
Yeah, the plastic ports?
The plastic, because you gotta drill them in, and then you gotta backfill with the right material in that hole, you know, you put an inch, you got a 4-inch or 6-inch hole, and you put a 1-inch pipe in. You gotta have sand and bentonite, you gotta get the drill rig down there, they're gonna wanna send a track rig, because there's no more road there. And they're so far away from the property line, what we've been doing is just pounding in a 2-foot with what we call a slam bar,
Yeah.
sticking the probe in and saying, okay, there's no methane, we're good to go. DEP has been okay with that till now, but every now and then somebody will bring it up, so it's like, if we're gonna talk to them, we may as well get them to sign off on that, I think.
I know back when it was a regular dump,
Yep.
and they would take the bales from Hardwick Knitters, line them up in lines,
Mm-hmm.
so that as one section filled up, they could put a little covering on it and just go to the next section. Well, those bales were cellulose, cotton, and whatever lint was blown into the bales.
Sounds about right. I think we saw some of that when we did some test pits over on the South Street side, that west landform. The other thing that is not in the inspection report, because it's not related to the inspection, but is, you know, something that I wanted to bring to your attention is, right now, since last September, they wanted us to do PFAS monitoring, so we've done 3 rounds. In fact, this 3rd round of samples are at the lab right now, we'll probably have them in a week or 10 days, and we'll write the report. You know, it was costing $17,000 for us to do the sampling with all the lab work. And then this is an extra $300 or so a sample for 27, 28 samples. So your monitoring program wasn't cheap to begin with, and it got a lot more expensive a year ago. The big concern that the state has is the 2 houses on South Street, number 380, 370 and 582, I think. I'll confirm those numbers, I have the sticky note.
What'd you say, Scott?
There's 2 houses on South Street that were
Yeah,
sampled.
what numbers were they?
They're either 380 and 572, or 370 and 582.
South Street, right?
Yeah, I just can't remember. So those 2 houses are still on wells and they're connected. You know, 10 years ago, there were 3 houses out there that we sampled, but somebody connected to the public water supply. The state's opinion is that if those if those houses were to be connected to the public water system, that, you could probably go down to once a year, cut your monitoring costs in half. But somebody would need to approach the homeowners and ask them, to connect. Generally, in towns where I've had that happen before, the first thing the homeowners say is, I don't want to do it city water taste bad. The second thing they say is, who's going to pay my water bill? Most towns I've worked in, the town is paid for the connection because there's some savings, but not the water bills after that. What you guys consider, I just wanted to throw it out there that it's an option. There's some grant funding out there for emerging contaminants. I talked to somebody in the drinking water section about it. I also talked to Dan Hall, who's the solid waste section chief. You could apply for some of that funding for these houses, but the reality is you're probably get a really low priority because we haven't found any PFAS there yet.
Yeah.
We found manganese, which the woman in the drinking water told me, and I was surprised, qualifies as an emerging contaminant, even though it's been a contaminant around forever, and it's a secondary standard. But again, I think that the probability of getting grant money from that particular source is probably pretty low. But there may be other sources out there that you could look at, like the USDA. I don't know how close the public water line is to these two houses right now. I know that other places on South Street are on water. For all I know, it runs right by their houses, but I think it's worth something, either you or we can take a look at.
I know it goes up the street, but I'm not sure on which side of the street's on.
What's interesting is that becomes West Warren's water district.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Warren Water District. So, the Warren Water District has, as you know, put in that new treatment plant to get all that iron and manganese out, whereas this is still raw water.
This is West Warren Water District,
Yeah,
right?
that's West
Yeah.
Warren.
So it's still
That's
raw.
what I thought it was.
And it's an independent district to start with.
And like I said, I don't know how close it is or how much it would cost either the town or the residents to connect, but,
Like, I almost
probably
can-
be on saving 20 grand a year, testing or more, if you can cut the program in half.
And that's if we can get them to tie into the water line.
Get them to tie in and have I wouldn't do it until we formally talk to DEP about
Right,
knocking that down,
yeah.
but they are the ones that brought it up to me.
So if they're bringing it up, it's something that they're probably gonna end up pushing the next couple of visits. They're gonna want us to do it.
Even though whenever you got sampling wells along the transfer station and the land here. So if you don't find anything there, they still require you to go further on down, to make sure there wasn't some sort of like little burst.
Well, it's everything. In this case, it's not the PFAS, it's the other kind of house,
Right.
right? The wells at the landfill and the brook have got PFAS in them. They haven't asked us to look for them. They don't really know what to do with the numbers. The only standards we have right now are for drinking water samples. The drinking water samples, what's happened is, now, the first two rounds we did, both times we had, the way the lab reports it is, less than 10 nanograms per liter. And during both events, what happened was we got a less than 10 at both sites, both houses, but one of them had a J next to it. And that means we got a hit, but it's not high enough for us to actually report it. And the state has made us go back and retest that location, and it's come back okay. So there's nothing there at the houses yet, but
But it's still migrating.
it's around the outside of the landfill, and it's in the brook. And,
Yeah.
they know it. And those houses have high iron and manganese.
Yeah.
They've never had anything else that I can remember that was a hit as far as, well, that's from the landfill.
Well,
And
it's a
iron
lot
and
of-
manganese are natural, but they're
Right.
always higher
Yeah.
from landfill impacts. So this doesn't seem like,
So on the PFAS again, what, could you go over that again? So where are you finding PFAS? All around?
yeah,
District.
all the
around
wells.
the landfill.
All
the
around,
landfill.
but not in the landfill itself.
Well, we don't have any wells that go down through the landfill, right?
Yeah.
Because that's just not how it works.
So, but then there's the two wells along South Street that you want,
The people's houses.
the people's houses, you're taking samples of for PFAS?
Yep.
Yes, 'cause you're
And,
concerned about-
and anything else that might come from the landfill that we have to test for.
They're concerned about migration zones.
So then,
Because
if
they're
they-
worried about the migration.
so then if there becomes a contaminant that exceeds, if it's a primary one, and, in their well, then they have to go on town water.
Yeah.
Yes. And if I'm,
Just a
if
little
I'm
fair.
them, I'm saying, it's probably coming from the landfill, you should connect me. And if you're over right now, before you can connect them, they're probably gonna wanna say, you should get bottled water. In the same way that other people, when they have high salt, are saying, you know, not in town here, I don't know about in town here,
Well-
but in other towns.
It's sort of like that, the thing that happened with, the people up on Bemis Road, I believe the street is, where, there was, drums of oil and everything that got contaminated, and then rusted and opened up, and then found their way into those people's wells. But at that point in time, the state also lowered their standard,
Yes.
and,
True.
made those wells non-drinkable.
Right. And they got bottled water. I don't know where they got it from, because I wasn't really involved, but I know that they got bottled water.
Things like
Right, that happened up at, Bob Downey's house, I think. He was impacted by that. Eric Mead was on
Reed Street housing.
the. Yeah.
Reed Street.
Yep.
So, yeah, a couple of, you know, I guess why I wanted to come in was just hit the highlights on the inspections. I've written it up so that we're suggesting a meeting with the solar people in the state. But really, that's up to you guys to make that decision. I can change it in my draft.
No, I think we need to
Inspection
do that.
report.
So at this point in time, then, for those two people on South Street here, we, twice a year or once a year, we're looking at their wells and letting them know that, hey, that's good water, you're drinking good water.
Twice a year, we test it.
And
In
we're paying
March-
for that.
March and September, it's part of the landfill testing program. And one of the houses, they've been better the last year, but one of the houses, we've always had trouble getting a sample from. And, you know, so we call ahead of time, we make an appointment, we say, we're gonna be out there next Wednesday and Thursday, and any times, we'll come early, we'll stay late, and they always say, oh yeah, come at 11 o'clock, and then you get there and there's a car in the driveway and nobody will answer the door. But I think somebody from the state called them, and certainly Brianna had talked to them, and eventually, like I said, the last year, maybe 3 samples, they've been a little more receptive to us collecting a sample. They generally have some kind of comment for the guys in the field. But, they've got iron and manganese.
That's
Other than
cost-
that, we haven't really hit anything.
That's costing us how much per well? Can you hear that number?
Well, just the PFAS testing is like $320. And then, you know, the rest of the testing is well over $100. I know with the volatiles, it's probably closer to $200 a sample. But again, the monitoring program is really old fashioned. There's a lot of wells that we test that are like right next to the landfill. And that was the way we did things in the 70s and 80s, and even the 90s. Now, sort of the philosophy is, you test a little further out, you make sure that it's clean, it's not heading towards anybody's house or, you know, wetland habitat or a brook, and you keep an eye on it out there. But
just drive past
We've got the old,
Cummings Pond, even with all that duck shit up there, that water's still clean.
People swim there.
so with your, okay, I'll finalize the inspection reports, say that we would like to get everybody together next month if possible, or in the next few weeks. And either, like I said, either we or you guys can look into where the water line ends and how much it, you know, if you want to pursue connecting or talking to them about connecting in an effort to get your program cut back.
And see, the problem is, we don't own either water supply.
Right.
And if somebody has a well and they don't want to connect, we can't really force them to. We could recommend